everyone, and welcome to today's session. So today is actually going to be a little bit different. Not a lot different, but a little bit different. So today is the first installment of a few installments that I want to do on our Friday webinars about how people can stay relevant in the face of AI. So where did I get this idea and what's this all about? So I was at the beach this weekend with my best friend. And we were doing beach stuff and hanging out and talking. He's like me. He's a self-employed business guy, owned a bunch of businesses over his life. So we have a lot of parallels that way. And he's showing me the new things that he's doing and how he's using AI to answer certain questions. And at one point in the conversation, he says to me, he goes, this AI thing has increased my productivity by about a factor of 20x. I thought about that. I thought, as that parabolic curve accelerates, that means that more people in the future, more human people, well, there's no other kind of people, obviously, but there's going to be less work because AI is going to replace it. So the question becomes, how can you remain relevant? All right. So that was really the genesis of this idea that I had. And as I talked to some people about it more, we're going to fly it under a title called The 10 Things They Never Taught You About, and then fill in the blank. So I'm going to do 4 or 5 of these. Today's the first one, and just about basic business. What's the 10 things that they never taught you about basic business? Now, obviously, maybe you've heard of some of this stuff. It might be a review. You might have never heard it, or maybe you're hearing it for the first time in a different way. And this is not like the be-all, end-all list. This is just the things that I think are really important for everybody to know, to focus on, to stay relevant, and to prosper moving forward. So that's what this is, okay? All right, so get pen and paper, make some notes. And before I start, what I also want to say is I'm not going to be necessarily teaching all these topics today. What I'm going to be doing is presenting them. I'll be teaching them more in-depth in a set of mini books that I'll be releasing this summer. I'll talk more about those later. So you're not going to get everything today. You're just going to get the ideas and some basic definitions, okay? All right, so here's the first one. You have to learn how to tell a story. That's right, how to tell a story. And a lot of people have heard about this. Storytelling has kind of had a resurgence in business culture in the last 5 to 8 years, I think. And with all the video stuff we've got going on now, people talk about it more. But not surprisingly and not ironically, most people don't really understand how to tell a story that gets the result that they want. And that's what I'm talking about. You have to learn how to use storytelling and presentation skills and selling and in persuasion. It's really cool. It works really well. And you have to learn how to do it, in my opinion, if you want to stay relevant. All right. So that's the first thing, how to tell a story. The second skill set that you need, which is kind of the opposite of the first one, is you have to understand basic bookkeeping. So I have not an extensive, but a pretty robust background in bookkeeping, math, financial analysis, and taxation. Many years ago, I was a tax preparer. So you have to learn the basics about bookkeeping. I'll talk about taxes in just a minute. But you have to learn how to keep track of your income and your expenses. Now, this sounds very trite and very mundane, and I know that. So why do I bring it up as one of the important things? Because over the almost 35 years I've been doing this, and 50,000 people who I've taught Does It Pencil, one of the common things that I've seen is that most people don't understand, don't know how, and simply don't want to do basic bookkeeping for their business. Well, if you're not doing it, somebody else needs to do it. But however you do it, it needs to get done. And I'm talking about just the basic stuff, okay? Nothing advanced, income, and expense. And you should be able to have those numbers available so you can see them on a quarter-by-quarter basis, if not monthly. Okay, I don't think weekly is necessary. Monthly is better, but at a minimum on a quarter-by-quarter basis. And if you haven't joined the rest of us in the software world to increase efficiency, let me make this strong recommendation. Get a copy of Intuit Quicken. Not QuickBooks, Quicken. Everybody's heard about QuickBooks. 90% of people I've ever met do not need QuickBooks. You need Quicken. It's an electric checkbook register, and the beautiful thing about it is you press a button once you get it set up, and there's your reports. Okay, so basic bookkeeping, check the box, must know. The third thing you have to know is how to sell something. Now, many people say, oh, I'm a great salesman. Well, that's debatable, okay? I'm talking about understanding how to do needs assessment, how to isolate a problem, how to present yourself as the solution to that problem, how to prospect, how to follow up, and most importantly, how to close. Those are basic skill sets in selling that everyone needs if they're going to be in business. And I don't care if your label on your business card says, I'm a salesperson. It doesn't matter. We all need to know how to do this stuff. Everybody's selling all the time. Okay, let's talk about taxes. You need to understand the basics about taxes. You don't have to be a tax preparer. You don't have to do your own tax return, but you should understand the basics. How does a Form 1040 work? What is a Schedule C? What is a Schedule E? What is a Schedule SE? What is a Form 4562? What's a Schedule A? What's a K1? All the different little code and jargons. It's not difficult. And if your business life doesn't change a whole lot, your tax return probably doesn't change a whole lot every year either. But again, I say, after my 35 years and 50,000 students, I have learned that most people don't know how to read a basic tax return, and you need to know how to do that. Not so that you can do your taxes, but so that you can do tax planning. All right, number 5, how to hire and fire. It's a really important skill. And I don't think it's something that anybody teaches you in a book or a workshop. A lot of it is you just learn it over time, how to read the folks. But you have to understand how to do a needs assessment for what you need, how to find someone that matches it, how to train them, and eventually, hopefully, how to monetize it. I mean, you hire people to get leverage. You hire people to get that leverage so that you can make more money. That's usually how it works, all right? And sometimes it doesn't work out. And so you have to learn how to fire people as well. It's not fun, it's just part of the deal. Okay, skill number 6. Please write this down. Time value of money. If you've been to these webinars, if you've taken Does a Pencil, if you've been to the sermon, you know just how important I think this is. This is a critical skill set to have to make any kind of decisions about money in your future. And that's what time value is for, making decisions about money in your future. The first time you do it, it's a little weird. Okay, I've seen this. Believe me, I know. But once you do it a few times, you get the rhythm of it. It's not difficult. And one of the most important things about time value of money is it's involved in almost every financial decision you'll ever make for the rest of your life. So if you want to make good decisions about money, learn about time value of money. It's very, very important. All right. Number 7, 2 words. Value proposition. This is the answer to the question of, why do you need me? Everybody needs to have a value proposition, and most of the time, a value proposition is held up against the backdrop of your competition. So you have to understand, who are you fighting with for the business, and how are you different, better, and unique? Why does someone need you? Now here's a little phrase that you should remember. I'll say it twice. If you have no other way to differentiate yourself, then the only way you can differentiate is based on price. One more time. If you have no other way to differentiate yourself, then the only way you can differentiate is based on price. Number 8, time management. So I'm not going to get into the weeds on this and day timers and calendars and sticky notes and all the rest of it. I'm just going to say 2 things. The first thing is this. I learned many years ago that the most effective way to plan your time is not by planning your day, it's by planning your week. So you can see the entire week. Now, obviously you have to keep track of your day. We all do. But in terms of planning your week is more important, I think, than planning your day. The second thing is learn your circadian rhythm, learn your body clock, learn about whether you're a morning person or an evening person or a night owl or whatever your thing is. Where is your energy? Then you assign the tasks that require that energy to the time of day that most suits it. Okay? It's your circadian rhythm. It matters. All right, next one. Cessation. What happens at the end? What happens when you're done working? What happens to this business that you have or have not been building over the term of your career? Is it sellable or not? Are you going to give it to someone, sell it to someone? What is it? And so the basic idea here is the idea of working on your business instead of in your business. Are you building a goose that lays eggs, or you show up every day with something to do, and if you don't show up, there's no money? It's a completely different paradigm about how to see work, your business, what you're doing, and in the end, what you've built. And the last thing is this: giving back. Now, this is not a big sermon on altruism and so forth. Two basic ideas, okay? When you get to a point of maturity in your life and in your business, what do you have to offer others that you're not going to charge them for? I think that's the key piece about this, is not charging them. Look, when you're young, you have a lot of time, but not much money. When you're older, hopefully, you have more money, but not as much time. So young people tend to volunteer more. Older people tend to write more checks, and that's fine, whatever your thing is. But decide which one it is and do something about it. And the other thing I'll mention is this, and I'll finish with this: mentoring. Right? A lot of people don't think about this, and they should. I mentor all the time. I mentor every week. If you come to the weekly Does It Pencil webinar, whatever else I do, that's a form of mentoring. It's a form of sharing what I know and giving it back to you. Hell, this video is a form of mentoring. So you don't have to just sit down one-on-one with a teenager. There's many ways to do it. And if you have come to a moment in your life and your career where you have something to say that should be of value to others, think about delivering it in the form of a mentor. So those are the 10 things I think we all need to think about to stay relevant as the AI moves forward. And these are just general good business skills that we should have in front of us every day to be successful and to be happy, because that is a part of the reason that you're here.